Welcome back to EWC Central. The interview extravaganza is drawing to a close. I have one last very special guest joining my show. Before I introduce this gentleman to all of our viewers at home, this is a man that I have crossed paths with many, many times. More than 20 years ago, the organization that this man represents influenced my love for esports. The organization, Team Liquid, frankly, put StarCraft on the map in the West. It's that simple, and if you think otherwise, you're wrong. On top of that, Team Liquid Steve, CEO from Team Liquid, also has had a gigantic influence on developing the club, adding teams, influencing competition, and I have had some of the best professional moments either competing against you regionally as a European broadcaster or watching your teams and cheering for them in recent years, which I will tell you this, Steve, has been strange for me to adapt to. Cheering for TL teams after many years cheering against them. First of all, thank you for joining me on the sofa.
Well, thanks for having me.
Steve,
some wonderful things. So
we know of one another. We very rarely get the chance to collaborate and work together. But could I ask you to introduce yourself to the wider viewers for this week's broadcast with PUBG, Rocket League, Ren Sports, Tekken 8. Yep. Camera number one, just give me a little intro for yourself, please.
Yeah. For folks that do not know me, my name is Steve Arhancet. I'm the co-CEO of Team Liquid. If you're not familiar with Team Liquid, we are...
Wake up! Sorry. I'm sorry. That sentence just...
No, all good. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're, of course, one of the largest esports teams in the world. And a little bit about me, I started off in League of Legends. It's the game that I play the most and love the most. I used to be a pro player and joined forces with Victor, who founded Team Liquid about a decade prior, and we became co-CEOs and have built an organization that has proven to build a legacy on winning. We have won more than most teams out there. International, back-to-back championships in League of Legends. We won the Grand Slam in Counter-Strike and many more, and we're currently in second place here at EWC. So it's an honor to be here.
Currently second place.
Currently. Hopefully finish second.
We'll build on this in just a second. Let's briefly talk about EWC first. Obviously coming in here, I saw your tweet finally arrived, and the word finally is what caught my attention there, because Team Liquid has had a lot of representation. You've had a lot of teams, games, I see the name quite a lot. How have you been watching? How have you been feeling? How anxious have you been, maybe not being on the ground, and how do you reflect on the 8 weeks of competition so far?
Well, this event is something that has never been orchestrated in esports history, to showcase so many different game titles, determine who is not just the best team or player, but the organization that fields so many different games all around the world. I think for me, I have had the joy of participating here on site at the venue with League of Legends, and you asked, how has it been?
Yeah.
That moment of being 1-1 with T1 and then going into the third game, being 6K gold up, and I'm backstage and Spawn, the coach, he's sitting right there, and I'm like, what do you think is going to happen? And he's like, this game, it's impossible to lose, he says to me. And then we lost.
I would say this.
Heartbreaking.
I will say this. Team Liquid put up a better fight against T1 than the finalists. You know what I mean? So honestly, mad respect. In particular, I've known Spawn for a very long time.
No, you do.
We spent a lot of time together. I loved watching him take that little victory lap going, I thought NA was bad. It was well-deserved. Okay,
yes.
I want to zoom out very quickly. Let's talk about Team Liquid's games. Let's talk about the results. I actually have a visual aid, mostly for myself. I've been here a long time. It's been 8 weeks, Steve. League of Legends, 3rd and 4th. MSC from Mobile Legends Bang Bang, 3rd and 4th. 2nd in Dota. I'll say this, another second. Steve, can you sit, my man? I've had enough. I'll get him to explain that in a second. And then look, I think it would be unfair for me to say this. It's been a little bit more topsy-turvy, like 7th, then we got 17th, 14th, 5th, 8th. We have a StarCraft win. I will get to StarCraft last because I want to unpack that for a little. You have to be proud overall when you look at that, but how do you actually feel as the co-CEO for TL?
Yeah. I mean, looking at that list, I think it's representation of something that we have set out as our main quest at TL, which is to become a global, multi-generational esports team. And in order to do that, you need to have relevancy, not just in one game or one region of the world, but you need to have representation in so many different titles. And it's a strategy that we took on at Team Liquid prior to a lot of other organizations and teams.
If you'll allow me to interject, as a longtime viewer and fan, I believe you may be the first North American club, organization, team, whatever you want to call it, to do that, because I believe you were doing that several years prior to when you had this. Yeah. I actually believe you were kind of building towards this type of model that EWC is working towards beforehand. I'm a viewer, right? Steve and I did not support Team Liquid because they kicked my ass in games that I liked for a long time, but I credit where credit's due. And I do want to just, celebrate that fact too.
Yeah, thank you. And you see it in the club standings, and that representation is not easy. Like if you're an organization and you are in Germany and you're fielding German teams, that's one thing to manage. But we're an organization with headquarters in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We have Los Angeles, California. We have another in Jakarta. We have another in Manila. Yeah. We, have one in Utrecht. And so each of these are offices.
That's the Netherlands, right?
Yeah, Netherlands. And so we are a global organization with teams and players and boot camps and facilities all around the world. And that is not easy to manage. It is easier said than done. And so to see that list, so many different cultures and backgrounds and languages represented, it kind of speaks to the idea that within esports, diversity and inclusion is key to success. Not a nice to have, but an essential ingredient in order to actually win the world championship or the Esports World Championship or the even to come in second. The Falcons, they're representing 6 different regions. We're representing 6 too.
Can I just say, just as a little bit of an aside and a kudos on that one, I've heard some of the things, especially when I look ahead to the Olympics committee and I look at how they were talking about men and women competition, things like that. Kudos for the bright jerseys as well coming out and doing that. It's something that I think was celebrated and something that I think was a brave move to play. I also want to celebrate one other thing. I said right at the beginning of this interview and this introduction that Liquipedia, learning about StarCraft, and honestly the databases is frankly a lifesaver. I think you know how big of an impact it has, but the fact that Team Liquid came out on top in StarCraft 2 again, I want to show you a video of Clem, him celebrating.
Oh my God, that moment is so insane.
How do you reflect? How do you reflect? Keep watching. Keep watching. I mean,
what's so amazing is that Clem's journey has been such an incredible one. He's always kind of fallen short of being able to do that moment, right? And beat out the competition. And something clicked. Something's clicked where he's been able to perform how he has in scrims and practice on the big stage, and he deserves that. And he convincingly won the finals. Like, it was not close.
Can I tell you, I don't know if you know the numbers. I'm sure you would have. In the 12 months before Clem defeated Cyril 3-0 in the upper finals, he had lost 3 maps. Okay? Wow. And Clem took 3 of them off him in less than an hour.
It's crazy.
Cyril has never lost 7 maps in a row to a single play in the history of his professional career. Clem did it in 2 days. Okay? So, incredible. I give you that. Yeah. Now, you watch that celebration. How the hell do you justify your Dota team taking 8 second places in a row? You're wearing a silver jersey. You're cursing them.
I guess I am. It's so funny because it's like they finished second again. And of course, we're not shocked and surprised because it's happened like 8 times before.
Let's name the game. Okay?
But what's so funny is that as soon as that happened, I text Nick, who runs Gaming Gladiators, and I just said, mad props, man. You just keep doing it. But then they went to Lima. I don't know if you followed this. And 2 weeks later, and they got first. And I was like, oh my God.
It happened.
But Gaming Gladiators wasn't there.
Right. So, I swear to you, I did plan this one for you specifically because we took second in Dota. For long-time viewers, especially if you follow more than one game at Team Liquid, placing second for multiple times in a row is a bit of an on-brand thing for this organization. Would you like to know where they're sitting in the overall EWC Club Championship right now? Okay. This is one of my favorite moments because you don't have any competitors feeling this weekend. I can tell you that mathematically you're guaranteed top 3, just for the record.
Yes.
In the worst case scenario for you,
yes, we will be third. Worst case scenario.
You lose $2 million. That's a pretty bad scenario. Let's be frank.
It's still $2 million. It's a lot of money.
But in order for that to happen, I think Vitality and G2 both need to do exceptionally well. I'm actually going to read some specifics. When we look at these clubs, you see the names on there. As far as long-time viewers, people can like, this is a pretty elite list of clubs, and you're sitting there in second place, a significant lead past the rest. You have to be proud of the org.
Of course proud. I mean, you know, to have such an accomplishment, to sit where we are, yes. That being said, you know, I think we are built to win as an organization.
You could have fooled me a few times, Steve.
You know, yes, I know. But like, you know, there's a little bit that's just, you know, you gotta reach, you gotta shoot for the stars. And Falcons did an incredible job, right?
Yes.
They have
It's
built
to be commended.
so, it is to be commended.
Yes.
Honestly, like
Yes.
for real, like, you know, there's a lot of other teams that spent a fair amount of money, fielded many rosters that did not qualify, right? They were able to achieve that. And you know what is so crazy is that if we would have just won in a few moments, like if we would have beaten T1, we might have went to the finals.
Yes.
If we were in that apex moment when it was like, how many of the teams had qualified in the final map? 13.
Correct. 13 was the threshold.
Yeah, 13 threshold. And then we're in the final map and we're going 1v1 against the team that won, and you're literally like seconds. You're just like a few shots away.
Trust me,
you know,
I've lived it.
Like they say in professional sports, they say, you know, you lose by an inch, you lose by a second. Like this is that kind of thing. So we could have been there in striking distance.
One last thing. As a long-time viewer, supporter, I use Liquipedia across the multiple platforms on the daily basis. On the document that I share with every single person that's joined this broadcast, one of the links that says on-air talent important links, Liquipedia. I mean this sincerely, right? I am a supporter, I'm a fan. I want to make sure that you hear it from one of the old boys around as well. You guys are great. But look, you have to find gold. Stop wearing silver. I'm going to just point that out. The gold trim. The gold trim. I'm just saying, you've cursed yourself. Okay, I've done this with a lot. I'm sure you saw the previous interview. We're going to be giving this away. There's a bunch of really legendary names on here. We actually just had Joe Marsh on a little bit ago. He said, oh, Albon was here as well, actually, now that I think about it. So I've had a day, Steve. I'm going to say thank you one last time. Again, it's one of the few moments I get to personally share my adoration and respect. I'm going to give you the chance to say, camera number 1, you can maybe atone for your second place sins or whatever else comes from the heart. It's up to you.
You know, there are so many things to say, but I want to first thank the entire community that has been watching the Esports World Cup, supporting through viewership, as well as the local audience here. You know, I think there's been over like 1.5 million people that have purchased tickets and come to the venue and supported esports locally here. I think that's phenomenal. You know, and to pull off such an incredible feat of having, you know, probably over 2,000 players compete across 22 different games and all of the logistics and broadcasting and graphics and media to accomplish this in such a short amount of time is probably on par with running the Olympics would be my guess. And so kudos to the entire team out there, to the competition who have really pushed us, especially Falcons. Congratulations to you on placing first. And of course to all the Team Liquid fans out there that have been rooting and cheering for us. Love each and every one of you, and of course to all the players, and especially Team Liquid players, and a huge shout out to Clem. You're the go to StarCraft, and yeah, so thank you.
I will just say this, thank you very much as well. Something you may not see through the microphone. Congratulations, Falcons. There was a little smirk there. That
For now.
that is what drives competitive spirit. That is what I expect to see. That is what I want. That's why I'm here. Steve, I'm going to say thank you so much. Before you leave, make sure you sign this one for me. Stay there for one moment. We obviously are going to continue the show. We're into our last half an hour of the broadcast. We are done with our interview extravaganza. I'm going to bring the gang back together again. And while we do that, let's head into the Aramco Sim Arena and check in on ESL R1.
Think of the driver at the 48 who